There is one arm wrestling strength every arm wrestler wishes to have more of, and that is the pronation. In this video, I will show you some of the best exercises you can do to fix your weak pronation, and I will also give you some important tips that will help you get faster results from your pronation training. Make sure you follow the tips because they are at least as important as the exercises themselves. Let's get straight into it, and the first thing we have to clarify are the 3 different methods in which you can grab the belt when it comes to pronation exercises. This is valid for every pronation exercise you do with the belt, whether it's at the pulley, with the belt attached directly to the weight, or even if you do exercises like pronation with the forearm fixed. The 3 methods are: 1. Grabbing the belt very high, 2. Grabbing the belt over the thumb, and 3. Grabbing it over the forearm. Now you might ask yourself, which of these variations should I use? So let me give you a basic rule so you will understand exactly what method is good for what technique. The way in which you grab the belt should simulate as accurately as possible the way in which you use your pronation on the arm wrestling table. Here are some examples to make this clear. If you are a posting top roller, for example, you will usually pronate very high because that's what you're fighting for, to be as high as possible. So that means you'll also have to train your pronation very high. If you are someone who pronates more through the thumb, for example, if you like to use a lot of dragging motion on the table, then grabbing the belt over the thumb will help you. If you are someone who needs to pronate very low, for example, if you are a low hand top roller, because you drop your riser, you will have to pronate very low, almost with the top of your forearm. Then grabbing the belt over the forearm will definitely help you. Ask yourself a simple question: how do I use my pronation on the table? And based on that answer, you will know exactly what the best method is for you to grab the belt. Now let's start with the exercises, and the first one is pronation curls with the barbell pronator. There is also a machine out there that you can use for this exercise. But if you don't want to spend the money for such a machine, you can use the barbell pronator from Golden Grip as well. You also have to understand your hand can apply the pronation from 2 different points. First is by pronating the thumb, and second is by kicking back the supination, or the bottom part of the wrist. When you do this exercise, you will feel a lot of tension in your hand on the bottom side of your wrist. The weights will be also very humbling when you start doing this exercise for the first time, and that is completely normal, so don't wonder why you can't work with a decent weight. Funny story, the first time I trained with this tool, I couldn't stop. I said to myself, I'm gonna do only 3 sets, and then I did 1 more, then another, and another one, because the pump I got in the pronator was something I have never experienced before with any other exercise. I have to say though that this is not an exercise I would recommend you to do if you are a beginner, because it requires some degree of lifting experience and you need to feel the exercise in order to be effective. Next exercise is an exercise that is not very popular but extremely effective if you are someone who needs to pronate from a very low position, basically with the top of your forearm, and that is pronation combined with hammer curl. You will have to wrap the belt around your forearm and then to hold it directly in your hand. Spoiler alert, you will feel a lot of pressure on the forearm bone when you do this exercise, and that is completely normal. You can also place some kind of towel or other sort of material on the forearm bone to protect it, or the second option is to be a man and to eat the pain that will lead you to strength. Whether you do the first one or the second, make sure you don't cry around in the comment section that the exercise is painful. For this one, again, the weights will be very humbling, and that's completely normal. You could also use the other 2 methods to grab the belt for this exercise as well. They are also extremely effective. By the way, if all of this is overwhelming and you need some personal guidance, I'm opening up some new spots for personalized one-on-one coaching directly with me. So if you're interested, link is in the video description. And the third exercise on the list is pronation from the side. This is very effective if you're someone who is attacking directly to the side without using too much back pressure. But of course, even for the other arm wrestling style, it is extremely effective. You will have to grab the belt over the forearm and then directly in your hand, exactly like in the last exercise. You have 2 main options for this one. You can keep your elbow fixed and just actively pronate to the side, or you can even drag your elbow peg to peg. Try around and see what works best for you. The variation where you just drag the elbow across the pad is basically very similar to the classic pronated side pressure, where you just grab the belt in your hand and pull the weight sideways. The same rules apply though. Your pronation should be engaged throughout the entire movement. It doesn't matter how you grab the belt. If your pronation gives up even a little bit, the lift is failed. The opinions are split on this one. Some arm wrestlers say if you move the weight sideways, you move it, and that's all. You don't need to keep the pronation, because you basically pinned the opponent. I'm a big believer in efficiency, and that's why I would recommend you to do it clean and to focus on maintaining the pronator throughout the entire set. And that's basically it. Remember, you need an exercise that combines your pronation together with your back pressure, one that combines it with side pressure or where the weight comes from the side, and one that isolates the pronation from all the other muscle groups. And this is it. You don't have to overcomplicate it, and you don't need 15 pronation exercises. Now let me get into the tips, and the first one is to concentrate yourself on the pronation when you do the pronation exercises. Let me explain what I mean by that. Most of you have never had the pronator pumped. You have never experienced that because you are not focusing yourself on the pronation. When you do any of the exercises mentioned a moment ago or any other pronation exercise, you have to concentrate yourself on activating the pronator on every single repetition for every single set. Stop throwing the weight around just to say that you lift that much and that much in that exercise. Numbers do not matter. The coordination on the table and targeting the muscle properly is what you should focus on. So stop doing exercises wrong with a big weight just for stupid Instagram likes. Tip number 2 is to train both methods in which your pronation can work. I already mentioned this, but let me bring it up again. Your hand can pronate from 2 different points. First is by pronating the top side of your hand, which is what the 3 methods of grabbing the belt do, and secondly is by kicking back the bottom part of your wrist. It is very important to have exercises in your training program where you cover both of these methods. You want to do that because first of all, you don't want any weak spots, and second of all, you don't want any imbalances, because imbalances lead most of the time to injuries. And the last tip is to work on the coordination between your pronation and all the other arm wrestling strengths. Let me tell you a short story. One of my athletes that I coached had an incredibly strong pronation when it comes to isolated exercises. But on the table, he always lost the pronation and he was not able to access his true strength. Not because he was weak, but because the coordination was not there. If you do all these exercises that I mentioned and you also focus on activating the pronation, it is still not enough. You will have to apply all those things on the table. And that's what table time is for, to make sure you apply the right coordination between all the arm wrestling strengths. This was a complete breakdown on how to strengthen your pronation. If you have any questions, write it down in the comment section below. If you want any of the equipment you saw in this video, with the code ALEX, you will get 10% off. And don't forget to check out the personalized one-on-one coaching directly with me. With that being said, keep your eyes on this channel. Great stuff is coming.